Oh no, I'm really stuck for a video topic today.
Hi Kurt, I have a topic for you. Why does Raditz have a widow's peak?
Oh my gosh, yeah! Why does Raditz have Vegeta's Widow's Peak? That's a great idea. Thanks, Dragon Ball Chick. Link to her channel down in the description for awesome Dragon Ball content. Let's be honest, Raditz is basically a long-haired Vegeta. He's got similar facial structure to Vegeta and also has the Royal Widow's Peak. A Widow's Peak is where there's a distinct point in the hairline in the centre of the forehead. Despite a lack of scientific studies, it's commonly regarded as a dominant inherited trait, meaning that Widow's Peaks are usually hereditary. Raditz is nothing like Goku nor like Bardock, and is shown to be far taller than either of them as an adult. So it's interesting how Raditz got that Widow's Peak. When you look at Bardock and Jean, you can't see a trace of it.
Oh my goodness.
What am I thinking about? We've got a problem here, so we're gonna have to theorize why this happened. Theory 1. The Saiyan race have similar facial features. Could Raditz and Vegeta have the same Widow's Peak only due to similarities in their race? Well, two of the official Dragon Ball guidebooks tell us this. In the Daizenshu 3 TV animation guide, it says, "The Saiyans' appearance is divided into limited types because they are raised, sorted into different classes. It seems there are numerous cases of people in the same class having the same face. The types of faces among the disposable lower level warriors are particularly limited, and Goku and the movie character Turles have the same face and voice. Perhaps the facial resemblance between King Vegeta and between Goku and Bardock is not due to just their lineage but also related to their class." This agrees with what Turles said in the movie, that although himself and Kakarot looked similar, they're totally unrelated. Also, the Dragon Ball Z anime film comics agrees with Daizenshu 3, as it states Turles and Goku look alike due to every low-ranked Saiyan warrior having similar facial patterns. But we are told that Raditz is a low-class Saiyan compared to Vegeta, who is an elite-class Royal Saiyan. So why do they both have the Widow's Peak and look similar despite being in different classes? As stated, only two low-class Saiyans would look similar, not an elite compared to the low-class. Well, Raditz was only in the series for a few manga chapters, so perhaps Toriyama didn't want to design a whole new Saiyan character later, so he designed Vegeta with a number of similarities to Raditz. In artwork and animation, there is sometimes a tendency for repetition. Another question we could ask is, did Raditz and Vegeta always have a Widow's Peak, or do they just groom their hair in this way? Well, what's interesting to note is in Bardock, the father of Goku special, young Prince Vegeta wasn't shown having a Widow's Peak. Instead, he clearly had bangs. But then if you compare this with the flashback in the Battle of Gods movie, he clearly had one. But then if you compare this with Super Episode 6, Vegeta has bangs again. And likewise in Dragon Ball Minus, which Toriyama wrote, both young Vegeta and Raditz have a Widow's Peak. So what is going on here? Well, Toriyama didn't do the design for young Prince Vegeta or younger Nappa in the Bardock special. The young prince's designs were done by Nakatsuru Katsuyoshi, according to Dragon Ball Z Son Goku Densetsu. The artist responsible for Nappa's design isn't specified, but it was most likely Katsuyoshi too. I couldn't find out who did the design for young Prince Vegeta in Super Episode 6 however, but the anime staff definitely stayed true to Katsuyoshi's design. So you can basically associate Katsuyoshi with the Bangs hair design and Toriyama with the Widow's Peak design. Toriyama's young Vegeta design also appeared on the spine arts for the Kanzenban manga volumes. It's a bit more open to interpretation, but Vegeta does look more like a child than a deformed adult, despite being around 17 years old at the start of original Dragon Ball. This explains the interesting differences seen in the previously mentioned frames. So technically, Vegeta's hair changing from young prince to adult was not an actual happening, it was just down to the difference in artwork designs. Or you could argue Katsuyoshi's design might have been the same as Toriyama's, except Vegeta's hair was just hanging down in those two scenes. Technically, you can still have bangs and have a widow's peak underneath if your hair is long enough but just sitting differently. Finally, it should also be noted that it was only late in the series that such a rule about the Saiyan's hair was made by Toriyama, so there was no way for the animation team to know about this at the earlier point. Does a full-blooded Saiyan's hair change from when they are young? Well, apart from the artwork differences between Katsuyoshi and Toriyama, there is only limited evidence, and on first reading it sounds conflicting. Firstly, according to Dragon Ball Z Chapter 181, pure-blooded Saiyans don't experience hair growth. Vegeta probably meant his and Goku's hair won't grow longer than the length we're used to seeing. The whole thing was just Toriyama coming up with a goofy way of explaining why Goku and Vegeta's hair didn't grow in the Room of Spirit and Time while other characters does. The out-of-universe reason is probably because their hair is iconic and Toriyama didn't want to change that. However, in issue 48 of the Manga Legendario in 2008, Toriyama stated that Saiyan hair does grow, but it's just much slower than Earthlings, and this was how Raditz got such long hair. Presumably, this means that Raditz let his hair grow over the course of his entire life, as there's no such way he was born with hair 5 times longer than his body. After all, Toriyama noted that anyone could tell by looking at Raditz that Saiyan hair does grow. In terms of Nappa, Toriyama stated that he went bald after all, in the super exciting guide in 2009. However, in 2008, in issue 48 of the Manga Legendario, Toriyama stated Nappa didn't have hair because he shaved it off and that Saiyans can suffer from alopecia. So Nappa shaved his hair off for 2 reasons. Firstly as proof of courage, and then secondly because he was likely experiencing alopecia but was not fully bald yet. The reason why Nappa had a different hairstyle to Vegeta and Paragus was due to being an elite class Saiyan. Lastly, Vegeta's haircut and having a mustache in GT is not a plot hole, thankfully. Vegeta did state Saiyans don't experience hair growth in the manga, but as discussed, Toriyama did retcon this in El Manga Legendario when he stated Saiyans have much slower hair growth than Earthlings. If a Saiyan has a haircut, his hair will grow back exactly to the length it was before and then stop. So that clears up the haircut, but what about the moustache? Well, Toriyama also stated that a Saiyan's beard grows slower than Earthlings. So Vegeta can grow facial hair, it just takes years. And that's why when he shaved the moustache off, it was a major change in his life. In Dragon Ball Super, we also saw Goku and Vegeta grow beards after years of training in the Room of Spirit and Time. They mustn't have shaved during that period at all to get that length of facial hair, obviously. Theory 2. Raditz is an elite class Saiyan, or the son of King Vegeta. So why does Raditz, a low class Saiyan, look alike with Prince Vegeta, a royal class Saiyan? This occurrence hasn't been specifically explained. In the real world, a widow's peak is a dominant inherited trait, so what if it was the same in Saiyans? Now the second theory is not what I came up with, and I'm actually reluctant to mention it because it goes against Jesus' teaching. Committing adultery and marital unfaithfulness is a sin and leads to not inheriting the kingdom of God. Thankfully, Jesus will set us free from committing this and the other things on this list by coming to Him, repenting of our wrongdoing, and then living in the life that He gave for us through His redemption. So that's good news, and He can do the same for you no matter what you've done or where you've been. If you come to Jesus, He can set you free. Come today, don't delay. So I've seen it suggested that Raditz's father may not have been Bardock, but rather King Vegeta, due to the similarity between Vegeta and Raditz's faces. The theory holds that the Saiyan royals may have had privileges which were accepted due to their status. Yep, this French word right here, or Lord's Right in English, also known as Jus Primae Noctis. Woohoo, got that one. Or Right of the First Night. Sadly, this was a supposed legal right in medieval Europe, allowing feudal lords to have sexual relations with subordinate women. Many cultures had a monarch with one royal wife that births the heirs, and several secondary wives and/or concubines that give birth to the rest of the court officials. So in order for Raditz to look prominently like Vegeta, and also have some of Goku's features, the theory says that King Vegeta mated with Jean. She could have mated with King Vegeta and then later with Bardock, making Goku and Raditz actually half-brothers. It still retains the theme of the low-class Saiyan working hard to become greater than the elite Saiyan whose birthright was to become the king. Only if Goku and Vegeta were directly related would the theme of the Saiyan saga be contradicted, as they're meant to be from different worlds of society. Also, having Raditz and Goku as brothers was an important theme, as it shows what Goku could have been apart from the influence of Earth. Bardock may have been none the wiser, as Gene might have kept this secret from him. Raditz would have been born under the assumption that it is Bardock's son, and Raditz may have never known the truth either. The royals probably wanted them mated with the strongest stock, so it would keep the Saiyan forces strong. Perhaps the Saiyan traditions were different to Earthlings. We weren't really told about this apart from Dragon Ball Minus, where there were couples and families. In terms of evidence to support this theory, there isn't much compelling proof. Firstly, some say that when Raditz first meets Goku and says, "You look just like your father," it's implied they're not brothers. Secondly, in Dragon Ball Minus, it states that Raditz was sent with Prince Vegeta to some planet. This is said to fit with ancient protocol where half-brothers and sisters to the monarch would serve their fully royal siblings. In terms of evidence that refutes this theory, there are a few points. Firstly, the manga itself in chapters 2 and 3 of Dragon Ball Z confirms Goku and Vegeta are actual brothers, as Raditz refers to "our parents" and "I am your older brother." Toriyama also confirmed it in issue 48 of El Manga Legendario, and thirdly, the Dragon Ball Z Movie 7 film anime comic has a Saiyan family tree showcasing that Raditz is the offspring of Bardock. In order to accept theory 2, we would actually have to ignore all these statements from the author and the guidebooks. Definitely let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and also which theory you think is right. And last video's hashtag Ender's winner is Lauchung Nunga Ralte. Congratulations to you, and thanks to everyone who watches my videos all the way through till the end. And if you made it this far, comment down below hashtag Enders for your chance to get featured at the end of the next video. And also guys, remember to like and subscribe, and also if you missed it, check out this video up here on the Masenko going in depth into Gohan's signature move. Thanks, Kai Kai!